Hey, how you doing? Gonna have a bit of a play around. Ooh, I like that colouring. That is bright. Yes, that's gorgeous. I like that. Say hi if you're there. So I've got my painting. Well, that's not my painting. It's a painting that my husband and I commissioned an artist friend of ours to draw for us. So that's all in the background. That's that beautiful red pop that you can see with like the trees and stuff. And then on top of my orange new chair that I do most of my business work on now, I'm really loving this pop of colour. It's great. So hello, good morning, good evening, or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. It's always morning here. So, all right, bear with me just one sec while I share this over to the other page. I got something really cool to tell you yesterday. It was the reason that I was driving down the road laughing my head off, alone in the car with my window wound down, just absolutely losing my shit. And it was great. So, let's go ahead. Almost there. It's a good story, I promise you. And it's something that I think most people will really benefit from. So stay tuned. All right. Here we go. Beautiful. All right. So what I want to tell you about is so I was driving home yesterday. Okay, now let me set the scene, because obviously you need to know what the fuck I am talking about, right? So, as you probably know from, if you saw one of my live streams a few weeks back, not even that long ago, just a couple of weeks ago, I was having some ongoing frustrating issues with Facebook ads and getting them approved, and basically just constantly having them come back disapproved over and over and over, and it was driving me insane and up the wall and everything. And eventually, like I did a post actually about perseverance and the ability to sort of take yourself away from the situation, take the emotion out of it. Don't let a situation like that, where it's out of your control to a big degree, because it really is, unfortunately, when it comes to these things. And unless you have connections, or you know someone who can look into it for you faster, then having to deal with the whole process is just draining, right? When you're trying to get things done and you just want things to happen, right? But I did a live stream about perseverance and the idea that, you know what, well, if it's not working, just keep trying until it does, basically. And I actually believe in that, right? So I came up against this issue again. So as you might have seen, I've brought out a new free gift for you guys. So this is the Mindset for Fat Loss webinar. So it's actually the replay of the webinar that I did late last year. And it was a really, really fantastic webinar that I did live. So I've got the video replay for you guys now, so you can actually access it and watch it on your own time, which is really, really awesome. And so I was really excited to, put this up through Facebook ads so that more of you guys can see it and get a hold of it and everything. And so I've done the ad for it, and it just kept getting disapproved all over again. And this time around, I tried not to get really upset and frustrated about it. I had a chat with someone that I met through a mutual friend of ours who kind of specializes in this kind of area. And she was able to give me some pointers and that kind of stuff. But to be honest, there wasn't really much more that I could do aside from what I'd already done. Basically, it just kind of came down to, well, do the appeal and just see what happens. And the really funny thing was, some of the advice that I got given was to basically, when you do the appeal, right, they respond back to it. And usually they'll just give you apparently like a generic message just saying, you haven't followed the guidelines, please have a read through these, in which case you just once again respond and explain how you did follow the guidelines. And I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be really cool, except that they don't respond to me. So I've got a couple of ads that I tried to run even late last year and earlier last year, like I'm talking like August last year. I've got still outstanding contacts with them, trying to get it done. And there's just been no response. Like there's not even been a generic message sent back. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I can do that. But I'm not actually going to be responding to anything because they haven't responded to me yet. So I kind of just had a giggle and went, all right, well, whatever. I'll just do what she suggested anyway. And just, I'm being conscious not to kind of appeal every single time I try it, because once they sit there in the appeal, they can basically get, reapproved at any point, and then the ad will just start running, and they won't even tell you. So if it's an ad from like 6 months ago that's got absolutely nothing to do with anything I'm offering now, it's kind of going to be a bit pointless. So I'm conscious of not just appealing every single thing I do, but this one I'm like, no, look, I really like this ad. I know it's not, I know it's well written. I know it's not against any of the guidelines. So yeah, cool. I'll appeal it. And so by that stage, I was literally just resigned. Like I'm just going to keep trying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving up by any means or anything like that. But I kind of, I went to bed that night after I'd just done the appeal, and I went to bed and I laid down. And I just remember thinking, you know what? Whatever happens. Obviously, there must be some really good reason that I don't know about yet why this is just getting constantly disapproved, because there's obviously no good reason. I know that I'm not actually violating any guidelines. So for whatever reason, the universe and everything has just aligned to just go, no, this is just not happening right now. And so I went to bed and I just put it to bed. I literally put it to bed, put it to myself to peace with it, and just went, you know what, it is what it is. I'm not going to be able to force this. I need to just let it go. There must be something else going on, something else even more awesome building that I don't know about, that is the reason why this is not working out, because it's trying to lead me somewhere else. So all I'm going to do is let this go, let it come at its own time. If it works itself out, it doesn't, or it doesn't. And I'm just going to be really receptive to whatever else comes up that goes, hey, you know what, Anna, you should do this, you should do that, in terms of how to get out, to everyone that there's a new free gift and stuff, right? And so I went to bed and just went, yep, cool, well, that's it. I will just see what happens now, and, it'll probably sit there in the appeals like all the others for the next few months. And so the next day went about everything. That was yesterday, actually. So as you saw, I got straight back into it. I did, 2 live streams yesterday. I did a whole bunch of little short videos for you guys. All this kind of stuff. I just got straight back on and just continued doing what I do. And so I was driving home last night, or just before actually I got in the car, because I didn't obviously have my phone on while I was driving. Well, not checking my phone while I was driving, but just before I actually started driving, I thought, okay, I'll just quickly put the data on and check what's going on with a few things, like check my email quickly. And I've just seen it come up on my Facebook feed, your appeal has been rectified and your ad is now approved and running. And I clicked on it and then just burst out laughing, because I just thought it was absolutely hilarious that after that long and that much stress and everything, it wasn't until I actually just relinquished control and just surrendered and just went, fuck this. I'm doing everything I can right now until I come up with a better way of approaching this. There's just nothing more I can do. I'm doing everything right. And I am very much open to a new lesson to come out of this, but I can't keep pushing. I can't just keep beating my head up against the wall. I've got better things to do with my time, and way better ways for me to actually spend my time. In other words, helping people rather than spending time rewriting ads that I already know there's nothing wrong with. So I could not stop laughing. I turned my phone off and got in the car and started driving, and I was just literally driving down the road, just laughing my head off at just the irony of it all, that after all of that time forcing it, and just, well, not forcing it, but pushing and just being like, no, I'm going to persevere, I'm going to do this, to get to that stage where it's like, oh, cool, all I really needed to do was to just walk away and just go, hey, you know what? What's meant to be will be. If this doesn't work out, that's okay, because something even better is coming along, and I know that. So whatever, I'm walking away. And it's just one of those things that you, especially if you're like me, if you're sort of type A and really control and lists and organization focused, and you love everything to be, all lined up and all your ducks in a row and all that kind of stuff, it's so hard to relinquish that control because you like to think that you can control everything about your life, and to some degree you do. And this is why I find it really, really funny, because it was once again a reminder to me to stop holding on so tight to the idea of exactly how I think everything needs to work out. Focus on my why, focus on my what and what it is that I actually want to do, and let the how take care of itself. Because that is one thing that you need to learn in the long term, through your business, through your career, through your life, through your partnerships, relationships, everything, is that the harder you try to control and push and like just have a vice grip on it, the more it's not going to work for you. And it comes from 2 points. The one being that when you're so tight and so in control, there's just no room for movement. There's no room for anything to work out in any other way. And if it's not working out the way you want it, you're basically sabotaging every other avenue. And B, when you're in such a pushing and such a forcing state, all of your energy, when I've talked about this in the past, is so forced out and so full on coming out from you that you're blocking any of the energy coming back to you. So you're blocking anything from actually coming to you to fix the problem, because you're so hard, you're so pushing, you're so just flat out that there's no way that anything can get through and actually give you the hand that you need, right? So I wanted to share that story because it was just such a intense reminder and hilarious reminder to just let it go. Sometimes there is just nothing better for you to do than to just walk away and just go, yep, look, that's cool. That's done. I've done everything I can. Obviously, I'm not saying as in be lazy and just be like, oh, well, that's it. I've done everything I can. I just quit. I didn't quit. There was no quitting about it. It was just purely letting go of being so focused on that one outcome, on that one way of getting the outcome, that I wasn't letting anything else actually step in. And look, you can believe or you cannot. It's really up to you how much of, this woo-woo universe, things coming to you, receiving, giving, all that, and energy and all that kind of stuff. That's completely up to you how much you want to believe of that. But I choose to believe in it because it works very well for me. It's a belief that I've chosen, and that belief has served me. And I think even someone who doesn't really believe would be just a little bit maybe turned on by the idea that there could be something to all of this woo-woo stuff, purely from the story that I've just told you, which is, I've still got other pending requests there from other ads that have been disapproved. I've got other pending requests there from other things that I need Facebook to help me out with. And they have been sitting there for months and nothing has changed. Nothing. This is my most recent one that I only appealed 2 days ago and it got fixed. Right? Like, I get it. You don't have to believe whatever, that's fine. But to me, that's a pretty clear sign that there's something else going on, because I didn't do anything different. I did the exact same appeal process, which isn't very fancy whatsoever. And however, this time it worked out. Right? And I do believe it all came down to the energy. It all came down to the way that I approached the situation, the decisions that I made about the situation. I basically just said, whatever it is, it's going to work out. It's going to be fine. If this isn't the way it's going to happen another way. And I just completely detached myself from the emotional side of the outcome and allowing myself to become upset or aggravated or frustrated or anything from the outcome. And in allowing myself that distance and in allowing myself that ability to just emotionally detach from it all, it actually opened up the room for it to finally work and for what I needed to finally happen, because I had stopped pushing so hard just to have it come out and work in one particular way. And like I said, it's truly just my belief, so it doesn't have to be everyone's, and that's fine. But if this kind of does make you kind of go, oh, okay, that's interesting, then maybe there's something to it. And I really do believe there is everything to this. And especially because I dare say, if you're watching this and if you're kind of part of the community and you watch my live streams or anything recently, or even ongoingly for a while now, you'll know that I very much believe that we get to choose whatever happens in our lives. And that includes whatever happens in terms of our results and our outcomes, purely based on our beliefs. And we can change those beliefs anytime we want. So there's no point saying, I don't think there's any point saying, I'm not this kind of person, I don't believe this kind of stuff. Because I believe that you can choose whatever it is that you want to believe. If it's going to serve you, then you're going to follow through with it, quite simply. And I also know that a lot of the people in this community are going to obviously resonate with me because you're very similar to me in the sense that you are that sort of type A, go, 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 have to get everything done, independent, I'm going to make it happen, I'm going to do it myself kind of attitude, which is really, 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 really detrimental, unfortunately, to sometimes just allowing things to happen for you rather than you having to force everything. And it's a really big lesson to learn that sometimes it does come down to a self-worth thing. I know it has for me. There's a long history of me not believing in myself and not really believing in my own self-worth. And that's what it kind of came down to, that it was like, well, if I'm not in control, if I don't make this happen, no one else is going to do it for me. And am I really good enough anyway? So I've just got to keep working. I've got to keep proving myself. And it gets to a point where you're trying so hard, you're pushing so hard to prove yourself that you're blocking anything from coming to you and from actually receiving any of the stuff you want. And therefore you're just feeding that self-worth issue even more, because you're like, well, I never get anything. Nothing good ever happens to me. Nothing awesome ever happens to me. I'm not lucky, anything like that. All that I get is through hard work. So if I don't keep pushing, I won't get anything. And so you keep pushing, and so you can never get anything, and it's a cycle, and it goes round and round. So one more time, I'm going to say it's really important at some stage to just walk away. Stop pushing so hard. Stop trying to force it. Trust that the how will work itself out. Stop trying to just make it happen in your way and the only one and only way, because you don't know everything yet. I don't know everything yet. Sure as hell I don't know everything yet. And I don't know all of the ways that your goals and your dreams and everything can come true that are even better than what you had in mind. Because the only way that you know what you want and how you want it to happen right now is based on what you know. You can't really imagine things that you don't think are possible or that you don't know that could happen because you've never seen them. But just because you haven't seen them, just because you haven't experienced them, doesn't mean they're not there. And that's some of the best and most awesome stuff, is when your dreams and your goals start happening and coming true in ways that are even better than what you imagined. You thought that this would be awesome if it happened this, and this way, and suddenly it's happening in all these other ways, and you kind of get blown away and go, wow, well, I was limiting myself. I could have settled just for having success in this way that I've seen someone else do it before. Why would I do that when I can have the success that I am having now? And it's on my terms. It's exactly how I wanted it, but I didn't even know that it could be this good, right? So don't be scared to just walk away. Don't be scared to just detach emotionally from stuff that you cannot control, and just believe that it's going to work out for the best, whatever it is, even if you think that there is no other way. And I did believe that. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about doing ads any other way. I need Facebook ads to work for me. So there was that belief for me, but I chose to let it go. I chose to just go, well, look, you know what? Obviously, for whatever reason, it's not working. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to let this just work itself out. I believe that there is something better coming my way. That is why this is constantly such a struggle and why this is not working out. And there you go. So I don't know what that other thing is now, because obviously the ad got approved. However, I believe that it was purely just that reminder for me to just let go a little bit, because I think it becomes such an ingrained habit in what you do, in terms of actually just pushing so hard that it just becomes, it's in your DNA. Like, you're either that kind of pusher, hustler person, or you're not. And sometimes when it is just so ingrained in you and so much in your DNA, you can't even turn it off when you try. Like, you might think that you're actually being lazy, or you're actually not showing up, or you're actually not doing the work purely by your standards, right? But because it's already so deeply ingrained and within you and everything, the truth is you're still pushing everything away even without trying. So walking away, giving yourself that space, and just being able to trust that the how will work itself out one way or another. You just need to let it go, detach yourself emotionally from the outcome, and don't get so wrapped up in it, and trust that it will work out, because it will every single time. But you need to believe that, and you need to trust that. And sometimes that is really, really difficult, and it takes sometimes getting to a point where you've basically got no other option. You're just like, well, I'm done now. I'm done. And that can be the first time that you get this kind of breakthrough. And then it gets a lot easier to just choose to do it in the future when you actually believe that that's how it works. So anyway, I think that is where I will leave it for today. So if you have any thoughts or questions on this, I'd love to hear. Drop me a comment below, because I will check back later. And